Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of The Isaac Moore Show. My name is Isaac Moore, and I'm here to bring you your moderate view of society. So, first, I'd like to start off by saying something about myself. A lot of people are saying, oh, he's a Republican, he's a Trump supporter, he's a Republican, and I want to get something straight. I think political affiliation, and too much thereof, is the worst thing possible for our country. I consider myself to be a moderate. I believe in democracy and having both sides equally presented and not these extremist views. Today I'm going to talk about something that's been bothering me. America's, for lack of a better word, silly. So recently we had the Super Bowl, and for some reason, the title card of this entire event was the Bad Bunny halftime show. I don't know why we turned this music concert into a political problem. And the organization Turning Point introduced their own counter halftime show, the All American halftime show. And what I've seen recently, and by the way, let me say for the record, the Super Bowl was like a week ago, and I'm still seeing people on my social media clowning both halftime shows. And I'm gonna be honest. I watched both of them, and I thought both were good. Like, I mean, neither of them were perfect. I don't think either one was like the perfect halftime show. If we're gonna go for best halftime show, I'm putting up there Michael Jackson, Prince. I don't think anyone in the past like maybe 5 Super Bowls makes the top 10. But like, why is this a problem for us? I don't care what music you listen to. I've never been a big fan of Bad Bunny's music, but I thought his halftime show was good. I'm not like super into country music, but I thought the Turning Point halftime show was good. Because again, I watched both of them. Like, this should not be a problem. I don't know when music became political, but for some reason now in society, everything is political, which makes no sense. Why do we care? That's the question I think we need to all start asking ourselves. Why do we care? So that's what I'm trying to argue for here. Politics is so weird nowadays. You have your Republicans versus Democrats, but that's not even the fight anymore. It's become MAGA versus woke. We're not even anywhere close to democracy anymore. Because democracy is the citizens equally represented in pushing the government. But nowadays, all it is these two sides finding any reason to be mad at each other. And let's look at like the viewpoint of a different country, someone from another country. They look at that and see us as like actually just stupid. And it's funny because that's what we've become. We're two sides arguing with each other. We're not even a country anymore. Like I don't think we even can consider ourselves a country. I think we're two groups of people fighting each other at all times. And to me, that's just like, why? When and why did this happen? Why can't we find anything to agree on? We have no common ground anymore. Because again, it's not Republicans versus Democrats. It's woke versus MAGA, and both sides are just fighting each other. And if one side said something, suddenly the other side completely disagrees with them. Like, I don't know why we can't agree on literally anything. Because whenever we vote into office a political party or a political leader nowadays, and then let's look like right now, our current government, we have a Republican president and a Republican majority Congress. And so, what, now we're just going to vote all Republican ideas in, and then during midterms, the Democratic side's going to come in and take over Congress, and then just revoke everything that happened. Like, it's not even, our government's not even worth having anymore. If like all we're gonna do is like go one step forward, pull ourselves backwards, go another step forward, pull ourselves backwards. This is not democracy, people. Because once we vote in a Republican and then a Republican majority Congress, suddenly the liberal spectrum of politics is not represented at all. And it's the same thing when we vote in a Democratic president and a Democratic majority. The suddenly conservative side of politics is not at all represented. And that's really dumb to me. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, because let's look at like 40 years ago, back in our when we had a moderate president, like when we had moderate presidents. Because sure, you would elect a Republican president, but they would kind of slightly lean on the conservative side, and they would still try to keep majority just moderate. That's what I've always seen. If you look back in like any history, because they weren't fighting each other. We were America. We were strong because we were united. And now, like, you can't go a day without having to debate someone because you say one thing and then they just hate you. And that's really really weird that that's become the normal. And we just really just hate each other. And it's an internal battle. We all just hate each other. I'm not saying that we all have to sit around in a circle, hold hands, and agree at all times. I'm just saying it's impossible for one person to completely agree with somebody. We can all agree on that. No one's going to have the exact same ideas on everything as someone else. But it's also impossible, in my opinion, to completely disagree with somebody. And if you completely disagree with everything somebody says, you just hate that person. Like, it's not even, I disagree with you anymore. It's like, I just don't want to agree with your opinion. And let's look at, like, the president, okay? We're all hating, we have the entire liberal side of the spectrum hating our president currently. And I'm not saying I support him or don't support him. I'm just saying, like, not everything he does is terrible. And then not everything he does is fantastic. Look back in history and name me, like, one perfect president. Like, look, take this time. I'm going to be 5 seconds. Name me one perfect president. I promise you, anything you said, if you said any name you said is wrong. There has never been a perfect president. Let's look back at, like, what president could be close? Washington? I think George Washington is the closest we've had to a perfect president. But then again, let's look at the time period he was in. I mean, there was no really country. It was kind of just like 3 states that were arguing for politics, and the rest of them were kind of separated. So he didn't have that hard of a job, but Washington still wasn't perfect. For the beginning of his presidency, he actually had no power, and rebellions broke out across the country. And then I think the second up in the list, I would say, is Lincoln. And I think Abraham Lincoln is a genius president. But at the same time, he almost lost the second term because the country at the time hated him because he almost lost the Civil War. And now it's a little tangent, but that's just for me to say, we're never going to have a perfect president. I would be genuinely impressed if someone went into presidency and was the perfect president. Because, like, it's not going to happen. So you can dislike your president as much as you want. You have that right as a citizen. I'm not saying let's all put on MAGA hats and support Trump. I'm just saying, like, I've had, like, previous presidents that I disagreed with on some of the stuff they said, but I've never, like, 100% been like, that's the worst person I've ever seen. And, like, because that's impossible. Again, it's literally impossible for you to completely 100% disagree with someone else. Like, what's that one joke from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse where he was like, he got like a 0 on his test, and she's like, you tried to disagree. It's like you have to be purposefully disagreeing with everything they said in order to disagree with someone 100%. And this leads into another point I'm going to make here. Can we stop using these extreme words to describe people? Because the word I've seen thrown around a shocking amount is Nazi and Hitler, and, like, that's like I'm sorry if I offended anyone by saying those words, but, like, this is genuinely what I'm hearing. And, like, if we continuously call people over and over again saying that they're a Nazi, like, that's, what does the word Nazi mean anymore? It doesn't hold any weight anymore. And at that point, we're just saying a word. To be Nazi Germany, that's an extreme. That's literally an extreme. If we ever saw that again, like, I pray to God we never see that again, because that's, like, actually the lowest society has ever gone. And, like, to even compare someone to that, what is wrong with us anymore? We're all so brainwashed by everything that, like we sound ridiculous. And I think calling people Nazis is, like, offensive to, like, the Jewish people as a whole, because we're like, we don't understand what they've been through anymore. And again, I'm not siding with either party here. I'm just saying in general, we need to stop like using these extremist ideas and extremist ideals in our society because it literally hurts us. We're hurting each other. What happened last time we split as a country? We had a civil war, and then was that a good thing? Is that what we want again? No, we do not want that again. Like, if you would say we need it again, something's wrong with you. Like, we don't have a country anymore. Can we go back to like a better society? If that's all I'm asking of all of us, is to stop doing what we're currently doing, disagreeing on everything, and come together and realize, hey, I can agree with something you said, or I don't agree with you said. Let's bring it back to a moderate idea, because that's the problem with our society, is we're arguing for these extremes. Like, in immigration, Democrats are asking for a completely open border. And then on the other side, the Republicans are asking for a completely closed border and to deport everyone who's here illegally. I don't agree with either side there. I'm going to be honest with you, and you can be mad at me, but like, that's a problem. That we have to, our two options in society are extreme one or extreme two, and if you don't choose either one, you don't have a choice. That's crazy to me. Like, we need to understand that the only way to achieve democracy is if we throw out this idea that the only thing we can say is yes or no. Like, there's other options. There isn't just a yes or no to every single problem. Sure, some of them, I mean, like some of them you can either agree with or disagree with. But what about a moderate idea of everything? We ever thought about that? I think we can find a middle ground to majority of current political topics and for once in our lives agree with each other. It's crazy that some people would even disagree with that to me. I think we need to understand that hating each other is never the answer. Political hate, in my opinion, is killing our country. And we can't even see it. Some of us we can't even see that. We can't see the bigger picture that hating each other, calling each other names is not going to get us anywhere. Only place it's going to get us is our country overthrown because we could not support each other. What happened to being America? Because being America nowadays, or being an American, is just being this brainwashed, walking blob of people who hate each other, and to every other country, we just look like actual idiots. So again, I do not have a political affiliation because I believe in a moderate society. And I'm going to push that idea to everyone here. Because I think a moderate society is the end goal. Because democracy is not right versus left. Democracy is a group of people coming together to lead ourselves. Everyone trying to argue like that our founding fathers would disagree with the party and agree with this party or disagree with this party and agree with this party. You're wrong, because they would look at us and say, what have we become? Did George Washington not literally say in his farewell address, do not let political parties separate us? And then what happened in the next election? Political parties separate us. It doesn't make sense. When this country was founded, it was founded on the ideals of freedom and for the people to lead the government. That was a newer idea for a government. And nowadays it's just the people listening to whatever a politician or some guy on TikTok says and agreeing with that opinion because they can't have an opinion of their own anymore. Let's break away from that and come together. Because the more unionized we are as a country, the more likely we are to succeed. All this to say, I think we look insane to every other country because all America has become is two sides standing in front of each other, screaming about how they disagree with each other. And I think if we focus all of our efforts into achieving a more moderate society, we're going to be better off than anyone else. Bring back moderate government. Get rid of extremist government. And for the love of God, stop arguing about the halftime show. That's all I ask of you guys. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna be honest. It happened. Both were good. I don't have a problem with either. It should not be a political argument. I think most of all we should understand that it should not be a political argument. And let's love each other. For the first time in our lives, let's come together and love each other. With all that said, my name is Isaac Moore. And I remind you guys to stay smart, stay kind, and stay informed. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time.